Well, hello and welcome to San Angelo Live, to the politics desk. Here we are once again talking about local politics. Sitting with me is Coco Simpson. Coco is a candidate for Tom Green County Commissioner in Precinct 4, which is the southwestern quadrant of Tom Green County. Welcome, Coco.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're interviewing every candidate, giving everybody a chance to introduce themselves to our audience and maybe discuss a little bit about the job and about reasons for running, that sort of thing. So tell us a little bit about yourself, education, background, family, that sort of thing.
My name's Coco Simpson. I was born in Odessa, Texas. I graduated high school in Andrews, and my parents moved me around quite a bit growing up. And even after graduation, I moved around quite a bit still. Graduated from college at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque in 2002, and joined the military briefly and ended up in Alabama and Georgia and South Carolina, quite a few places, and made my way back to Texas to my home, and ended up here in San Angelo about 13 years ago and met my husband here, and he is a local, so we have no plans of going anywhere anytime soon. My nomad lifestyle stopped. I've got two kids. Johnny Rocket is 11 and Lola is 3. And we live out in Cristobal and built our dream house and just living the dream.
That's a great place to do it. Precinct 4 County Commissioner, Bill Ford's the incumbent.
Yes.
What are the things that made you decide to run for county commissioner?
Well, Tom Green County is hiring a commissioner, and I think I would do an incredible job. I have a background in numbers. I do taxes I have my own tax office, so I do taxes. So I like numbers a lot, and a big chunk of the county commissioner's job is budgeting. Right. So I'm fiscally conservative. I have been meeting with quite a few different county officials to find out about their departments and find out about their needs and their interactions with the county commissioners themselves to see what I could do, where there's room for improvement, where things can change. But ultimately, we're hiring, and I want the job.
All right. This is a crowded field for for commissioner in Precinct 4. First time we've seen this in a long time. What sets you apart from the other candidates on the ballot?
I think there's a number of things. Diversity of thought is a big one. If you look at the other people running, I feel like I'm not quite a bit younger, but on the younger spectrum of that. So I think that brings a different element to the table. My kids are young. Most everybody else that's running, their kids are grown, or they're working on grandbabies right now here. So I have a vested interest in what happens to our county now, because it's what I'm leaving for my kids in the future. So it's important to me to leave things better than I found them, so that my kids have something to grow on. But also as a professional, from a professional aspect, I come at it from a different angle than most of them. Having business background and a numbers background, I have the acumen to actually dive into some of the things going on in the county that I think are issues and make improvements where I can.
Okay. There's always a number of issues facing the county commissioners' courts. What are the issues as you see them heading into this primary election?
Transparency is the biggest one that I see. I go to the commissioners' meetings every week, and we have 2 pages of agenda, and we roll through it in 30 minutes. No one asks any questions. No one wants to dive into what we're spending money on. And it really is troublesome to me. Either they don't care, or deals are being made in the back room that none of us know about. So I think transparency is one of the biggest things. The other part is accountability. Rolling through those meetings in 30 minutes or less, I don't think people realize how much money our county spends, how much of our tax dollars our county spends every week. I mean, there's no weeks that I go in there that it's not less than $3 million that our county spends of our tax dollars. And like I said, no one asks any questions. No one wants to dive into what we're spending this money on. They just assume that the people that are spending the money have done their due diligence and are doing the right thing, but no one's holding anyone accountable as far as it looks on the outside.
Okay.
Things are always different on the inside, so I may be missing a piece to that puzzle, but it sure doesn't look like it.
Okay. We've all been affected by the pandemic and this COVID thing, whatever it is. One of the things early on, before anybody knew what was going on, were the state of Texas took some actions, the governor's office took some actions, and the county judge took action, which statutorily he had the obligation to do so. One of the things that he did was issue an emergency order, and that emergency order, in cooperation with the city and the local health authority, put some restrictions on folks that hindsight could be construed as a little bit heavy-handed, but again, didn't know what to expect at the time. Those were the measures that were taken. On that executive order, and I kept emphasizing this to my fellow co-workers, was a couple of statements, and one was, this authorizes the county to take every action necessary until further notice. That is a very broad, overreaching, wide-reaching authority, and the consequences were businesses were shut down, mask mandates, the economy ground to a halt. What do you see going out of this? Changing in the way that viruses, pandemics, reactions are handled?
Well, I was leery of the whole pandemic from the get-go. There was science out there from the very beginning, from March of 2020. There was science out there that showed what was going to happen, and that science to this day has panned out. I think that everyone was hasty to jump on board, thinking there wasn't anything there, and they didn't know what was going on. No one looked. No one. I don't think people, especially people in power, took the time to actually look and dig into the science to find out that what was being handed down was junk. That there was nothing to it. And I'm probably gonna get some flack for saying this, but there was science out, and the Diamond Princess cruise line was a perfect example of a scientific research project that it didn't have a control group, but it was controlled, and the statistics from that cruise ship panned out through this whole pandemic. So I really hope that, I'm grateful we live in Tom Green County, because our county did not grind to a halt nearly as bad as most counties did, most cities in Texas did. Our people here, part of the beauty of San Angelo is that a lot of our county is not corporately controlled. It's locally controlled. We have locally owned businesses. We have mom and pop businesses that aren't under these huge, massive corporate umbrellas where they have to follow blanket mandates and do the same thing as Austin or Dallas. We can do what San Angelo needs, and they did. So our economy fared very well compared to many others. I think the sales tax report, we didn't change from 19 to 20 to 21. We stayed pretty level. So that says a whole lot about San Angelo people, that we know how to take care of ourselves. We don't need the government to step in and heavy-handed mandate what we do. We know how to take care of ourselves. We have some personal responsibility, and we'll do what is necessary for our friends and family.
Okay, great. This is the primary is March 1st,
Yes.
the Republican primary. You've got from now until then to convince the voters to vote for you. This is an opportunity here for you to espouse on anything you want to espouse. What do you want voters to know right now about your campaign and you?
Well, I'd like to point out that there are 4 of us running against the incumbent. So that in itself should show Precinct 4 that it's time for a change. There are enough of us running saying that the guy who's there is not doing the job to the best of his ability or serving us as we need to be served. So that's number one. Please take the opportunity to make a change for the better for Tom Green County. Whether it's me or Lori or Dusty or Sean, we're all running because we think we can do better than what's there. The other thing is that old saying, you know how strong someone is when you put them in boiling water. Well, they were put in boiling water last year, and the tea was weak. They did not stand up for us as Tom Green County residents like I feel they should have. So let's take the opportunity to make a change. The other part of it is, like I said before, I have a vested interest in making this community the best it can be. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, and please don't glean that I'm coming in trying to change things. I love San Angelo. I love my small communities. I love Cristoval. I love Dove Creek, Knickerbocker. I like them being small and local and the homey vibe of it. So I'm not running to try to change any of that. What I'd like to do is make the people who lead our county more accountable to you for their actions, make their actions more transparent, and really work on some accountability, fiscal responsibility. I want to know where my money's going. I want you to know where your money's going. I'd also like to get more people involved, more people from the 35 to 45 year range involved in our local government. It's really sad when you go to the county commissioners meetings and there's 20 people in there and 15 of them work for the county. Yeah. This is your money, guys. Why are you not paying attention to where it goes? And why are you not taking an active interest in where it goes? All of this affects you. It affects your kids. It affects your life, period, in our county.
Okay. Coco, how do people get in touch with your campaign?
CocoSimpson.com is the easiest way. All of my stuff is there. I also have a Facebook page, Coco for Commissioner. I think if you type Coco for Commissioner, it'll pull it up. But CocoSimpson.com is probably the easiest way.
All right. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity.
We will certainly see you again on the campaign trail.
Yes.
For Coco Simpson, who is a candidate in the GOP primary, Republican primary, March 1st, for Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4, I'm Yantis Green for San Angelo Live.